Lesson 6.3, Solve multi-step inequalities. How do you solve multi-step inequalities? Well, use the same steps to solve linear inequalities as used to solve two-step and multi-step equations. First, you take care of the addition and subtraction, and then you take care of the multiplication and division. So let's look at the first example here. Negative 7x plus 2 is less than negative 5. Well, the first thing we always take care of is the addition and subtraction. So because we're adding 2, we must subtract 2 to both sides. So on the left side, the 2's cancel each other out. We're left with negative 7x is less than negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7. Now we must divide both sides by negative 7. On the left side, the 7's cancel each other out. We're left with x. When you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip the inequality, and negative 7 divided by negative 7 is 1. So x is greater than 1. So you put a point at 1. It's an open circle because it's strictly greater than, and it's greater than 1, so the arrow goes to the right. Now we have to solve 1/3 times the quantity 3x plus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 1. Well, we can start out by distributing the 1/3. When you multiply 1/3 times 3, you write it as 3 over 1. So 1/3 times 3, the 3's cancel each other out. We're left with 1, so we're left with 1x. Plus 1/3 times 6 is 6 over 3 is greater than or equal to negative 1. So we're left with x plus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 1. Now we subtract 2 to both sides. We're left with x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So now we put a point on the graph at negative 3. And because it's greater than or equal to, we have to fill in the circle. So it's a solid circle at negative 3. And it's greater than or equal to, so our arrow goes to the right. We shade the right side of the graph. Now we have to solve 9x plus 6 is less than or equal to 6x plus 21. Now in this case, we notice there's x's on both sides of the inequality, so we have to move them both to one side. So in this case, we'll move the x's to the left side. So we'll subtract 6x so we can eliminate a positive 6x on the right side. On the left side, 9x minus 6x is 3x plus 6 is less than or equal to 21. Now we have a two-step inequality to solve. So because we're adding 6, we'll subtract 6 to both sides. On the left side, the 6's cancel out. We're left with 3x is less than or equal to 21 minus 6 is 15. Divide by 3. X is less than or equal to 5. So now we have to number our number line. And I like to start out by putting 5 in the middle just because that's the number that we're starting with. And then we'll put numbers on both sides of 5. Now that we numbered our number line, we put a point at 5. Now because it's less than or equal to, we will fill the circle in, so it'll be a closed dot. And x is less than or equal to 5, so we'll shade in the left side. Now we're going to solve 8x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 4 times the quantity 2x minus 1. So we locate our variables. We notice there's x's on both sides. So now we have to simplify the left side and then the right side. The left side simplified, the right side we have to distribute. So we have 8x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 8x minus 4. Now we must move all the x terms to the left side, so we're going to subtract 8x to both sides. And in this case, the x's cancel out on both sides. We're left with negative 3 is greater than or equal to negative 4. Well, that statement's true. Negative 3 is greater than or equal to negative 4. So that means the solution to this inequality is all real numbers. You can take any number you want to and plug it in for x, and you will get a true statement. So when we do the graph for this, the graph is the entire number line. So we shade the entire number line in, and the arrows are on both sides. Now we have to solve the inequality. Negative 2x plus 9 is less than negative 2 times the quantity x minus 3. Again, there's variables on both sides, so we have to simplify. On the right side, we can distribute a 2, so we have negative 2x plus 9 is less than negative 2x plus 6. So now we must move all the x terms to the left side. So to get rid of a negative 2x on the right side, we'll add 2x to both sides. And again, the x terms cancel each other out on both sides of the inequality. So we're left with 9 is less than 6. Well, 9 is not less than 6. That is not a true statement. So for this inequality, there is no solution. A gas station usually charges $2.09 for every gallon of gas. The gas station charges 10 cents less per gallon if a customer also gets a car wash. The car wash costs $8. What are the possible amounts in gallons of gasoline that you can buy if you also get a car wash and can spend at most $20? Well, now we have to look through this problem. What is the question that we're being asked? That's the first thing you should try to identify. Well, we're trying to find out what the possible amounts of gasoline that you can buy if you get a car wash and you can spend $20. So we're trying to find out how many gallons of gasoline we can purchase. Well, what other information are we given? Well, we're told that gas costs $2.09 a gallon. But if you get a car wash, it's 10 cents per gallon less. And the car wash costs $8. The most you can spend is $20. So let's start off by looking at how much the gas costs us. Well, if it's normally $2.09 a gallon, but if you get a car wash, it's 10 cents per gallon less, well, that means we're going to take the $2.09 and subtract the 10 cents from that. So that will give us a cost of $1.99. So that's how much each gallon of gasoline is going to cost us. The car wash costs us $8. And you have $20 that you can spend. Now, if we're trying to write an inequality here to figure out how many gallons of gasoline we can purchase, we need to use a variable to represent gallons. And in this case, we'll use G for gallons. So let's start out by writing our inequality now. Well, we know the most that we can spend is $20. And if we can't spend more than that, but we could spend that much, we need an inequality that would be less than or equal to $20. So now we have to put together our cost per gallon of $1.99 and our $8 car wash, and G, the number of gallons of gasoline that we can purchase. Well, the $8 car wash is a fixed cost. You pay $8 one time. That's a one-time fee. Now, the number of gallons that we buy is G, and the cost per gallon is $1.99. So that would be $1.99 times G. Now that we wrote an inequality, we have to solve the inequality for G to find out how many gallons of gasoline we can purchase. So this is just a two-step inequality to solve. So we start out by subtracting 8 to both sides. We're left with $1.99 is less than or equal to 12. And the last step here is to divide by $1.99. And we get G is less than or equal to 6 gallons. So we can afford to buy 6 gallons of gasoline and get a car wash. But we could also get less than 6 gallons of gasoline.